Thank you, Madam Speaker, and let me begin by congratulating the Chairman of the Judiciary Committee, Mr. Conyers, and the Ranking Member, Mr. Smith, on all their work on this particular issue. And I want to thank them and the other members of the Judiciary Committee for reporting this bill out by unanimous vote, a unanimous bipartisan vote. And I also want to thank the other co-sponsors of this legislation, including Mr. Meehan and others. Madam Speaker, in the last election, I think the American people sent Congress a very strong and unambiguous message that it's time to change the way Washington does business. They said loud and clear that the status quo on Capitol Hill is unacceptable. The American people want this Congress to hold the Bush administration accountable, and they want Congress to hold itself accountable. They grew weary of a Congress that used the power of a majority to benefit narrow special interests at the expense of the public interest. And that's why on the very opening day of this new Congress under the leadership of Speaker Pelosi, we immediately enacted a series of important reforms, gift bans, travel limitations, and greater transparency of the earmark process. The lobbying reform bills that are before us today are the next important steps along the path to greater openness and transparency. And I think we would all agree that with greater openness to the public comes greater accountability for this institution. Let's be clear. Lobbyists come before this body to advocate issues on behalf of their clients, and they serve a valid and important service of providing information and expertise on complex issues that we face. However, we know a number of recent scandals have demonstrated that lobbyists, some of them like Jack Abramoff, have been able to exercise undue influence in shaping the legislative agenda and the policies that come out of the Congress. This bill, the Lobbyist Transparency Act, deals with the role of lobbyists in the campaign fundraising process. It requires registered lobbyists to disclose certain contributions that they bundle on behalf of candidates and political committees. This bill involves simply the disclosure of information that the public has a right to know. And a vote against this bill is a vote to deny that public important information that they can use to judge the legislative process. I think we all agree that members of Congress are sent here to represent the public interest. We're not here to represent narrow special interests. And we should have a very simple test, a very simple standard in considering whether we're going to vote for or against legislation. And that test is, does that legislation advance the public interest? And the answer on this bill is unequivocally yes. Let's fulfill our promise to restore the public trust by serving the public interests. I urge adoption of this legislation. Thank you, Madam Speaker.